All right, here we are, Rogue Bunnies Mayhem. Oh, I am so excited about this show because I've been wanting to bring this special man who I call friend, and oh man, Jen, Victoria, we're finally doing this. You've known him from Quiet Riot, from Ozzy Osbourne, from Whitesnake. Shall the list go on? Yes. Manic Eden, Dio, Blue Oyster Cult, Jeff Tate's Queen Reich, Devil City Angels, The Guess Who, and right back from where he started and back with Quiet Riot, we have the one and
Wow.
only Rudy Sarzo. Dude.
Wow.
Oh my
Hey.
God. I've
Oh
never
my
seen Brian
gosh.
so excited in my whole life.
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize that was your history there. All those bands. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Wow. God, you
I,
if you can remember, because I don't know what state of mind you've been in during these tours or whatever, but I bet you have a lot of stories.
I got a lot of stories, but I thought after that introduction, I was done with the with talking about anything, anything because you said it all right there.
Well, it's
Uh,
just it blows my mind because here's something I got to add in. All right,
mhm,
for everyone, all our listeners and now viewers that see us on
mhm,
YouTube, don't forget check us out on YouTube. Rudy, it's been said, and I've said this before, and you've been on our show when we used to do Playboy Radio, Mansion
mhm.
Mayhem, that you seriously are the nicest guy in rock and roll.
Aw.
And
Oh
I
boy,
got to go further than that. You're the most genuine. You really are.
I
I mean, we've had
I have a lot of
you've been such
I
a
have a
cool
lot of
dude.
really good friends who are some of the nicest people in rock and roll. And so for me, it's very hard. I have to really work at not being being an a-hole. It's like something that I have to like set my mind to, and then I get exhausted and I go, no, no, yeah, it's not me.
Yeah. Well, did I know we're going to be we got so much that we're going to be delving into, but I want to of course people have had you on shows and you talk about your musical career, but I like to
Mm,
just jumpstart to where how we even met. We are Rogue Bunnies, and we all do come from the mansion, the Playboy Mansion world, the Playboy world, and what an exciting time when rock and roll fantasy camp when you guys came to the mansion, and I was just so blown away
mhm,
when you guys played that. That was such
mhm.
a cool endeavor. Are you still involved with that?
I've been so busy with Quiet Riot for the last 4 years that I have not been able to do a camp. But I get so much reward out of giving back to, you know, to the people that have been listening to our music and supporting what we do as a whole, as a genre of music. That every time that I do the camp, I make lifelong friends, and I get this really. As a matter of fact, I did the VH1 Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp reality show,
Oh
Yes.
and
wow.
Oh, cool.
and it was non scripted, and everything as far as I go, what you see about me on camera is the real deal. It's not like I was trying to act. It's exactly how we do it at the camp. Of course, at the camp is not as competitive as it was on the reality show because they had to turn it into a competition, I guess, to keep people tuned in.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But at the heart, at the core of going to rock and roll fantasy camp is about getting an experience of a lifetime. I mean, I've had campers because when you do the camp, you're the musicians, the professional musicians are the counselors, and then there also we have special guests that drop by. But the counselor is the one who is like in the room with all the campers every minute of the camp that you're in. And it's just such an incredible experience because you have to have a strategy in order to do it because you only have so many days and so many hours to accomplish a
Right.
miracle, basically, which is getting complete strangers. Because when you put a band together, it's the family that you pick.
Yeah.
You want to be
Have
with
Right.
these people. You
have
want to make music. You want to hang out. You want to be on the road. You want to spend probably more time with them than you do with your own family. You know, because this is your profession. And at the camp, you have no idea who you're going to be
Yeah.
in
Oh,
in
wow.
this creative. situation where, and to be creative, you have to like completely open your heart to it and
Yeah.
expose yourself. It's
Right.
very emotional, to be in a band, to make music, even if you're not playing original material, you know, t- and a lot of times, you know, in my camp, I would have campers who their wife thought that it was a really good idea to surprise the husband
Oh, shit.
with the rock and roll fantasy camp. And it's a lot of them are not ready for it. It's like, oh my God, I've never done this before. So I guess the wife, after 10 years, run out of ideas, for like anniversary. What am I going to get my husband? Oh, I'm going to get him in the fantasy camp. And he can be the singer because he doesn't play any other instrument. And so I've been in situations like that I have to make it work. And to I mean, and it's either going to be a disaster or it's going to be, again, a miracle. I've seen miracles in that room at rehearsal, and that's what keeps me coming back. Because once you witness one of those miracles, uh, there's no turning back. You just want to get more of that.
Is it a 1 day thing? Is it a week-long thing? Is it a camp where they go to a location, they stay the night, like a camp, or like what's the venue that you're doing this camp at?
A typical camp, and there's been variations of it, but the one that is currently what happens at camp is people fly in, or if you happen to be local, let's say from LA, you don't have to fly in, you just participate. And it starts on a Thursday, and you get assigned each camper receives, like a drummer and a bass player and a guitar player and a singer, hopefully, because a lot of times not that balance of people signing up shows up. They
Sure.
just, you might have to, let's say there's another. In my case, bass is my instrument. So if there's another bass player, I just pick up a cowbell just to keep things, kind of like, to work with the drummer, to be inside of it and to keep things, to be the conductor, basically. You know, Cowbell is very underrated. In Cuban, Latin music, we got clave, which
Oh
is
yeah.
that little two little sticks that you hit, and they're very loud, so you become the conductor of the band, kind of like a metronome. You know, so uh, it's a process that has to happen really quickly, and you have to have preparation. And what I do is I bring a board and I write things down. And says, okay, we have to get here, so we're going to work our way back. How are we going to get there? Well, we have to apply, and we got to get things done. Each day you have a goal, so it's very goal, oriented experience. But then again, what really helps is, in order to afford one of those camps, you have to be successful in whatever you do in life, whether you're a doctor or lawyer or, whatever it might be. And yes, there's some cases where we will have veterans, from the military participate, or some special needs campers. But the majority, what keeps the camp alive, financially, is the fact that these type A personalities show up in one room. And usually in a band, at least there's one type A person. Maybe you get two, and that could be conflicting.
Yeah.
When you have a room full of type A people,
Oh,
No.
you're screwed. You have to become Mahatma Gandhi in order to deal with this, right there on the spot, So it's to me, it's an incredible human experience, and almost like a experiment, because
Yeah.
it's not always the same. It's the outcome. You want it to be the same outcome. Everybody had a great time. Everybody walks away being a an experienced human being in something that they had never felt before, and they have a new layer identity to them through music. And the beautiful thing about music, it has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing real. I mean, even though I consider music to be spiritual, it has nothing
Sure.
to do with any specific religion.
Yep.
Uh, it's just music. And it
energy.
doesn't matter if you're
Mhm.
in a room with, you know, not only ethnicities, cultural backgrounds, religious background, political background. We never talk about that. We don't care. See, an instrument doesn't care if you're male, female, or whatever you believe in, or you know, how much you eat, how much you weigh, nothing. That instrument wants to be played.
Yes.
That's it. Isn't that, to me, that's the essence of the true human experience.
That's awesome.
You
That's why
know?
I think music is always been believed to be the one language that transcends all.
Oh,
You know, transcends every.
yeah,
No matter
yeah,
what culture you come from, where it is, music can bring everyone together.
And it's
You know,
healing.
yeah,
really,
Music is healing
yeah.
in so many ways.
I love this, and I think it's so special. And we're going to touch more on that. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back, and I want to delve into the experience at the mansion. We're going to be right back. You are
Okay.
listening to Bunnies Mayhem. So we're right before we were took a break. You know, you were touching, Rudy. You're really hitting me, man, because you're right. It is kind of a very spiritual thing when you get into music, whatever kind of music genre that you might be attracted to. There's something about it that just attaches all of us, and I think
Hmm.
that's beautiful. What you've done, what you've been able to be a part of, and thank you for that. You know,
Oh,
expressing that.
thank you for
You
listening.
know, it's
Yeah,
so
yeah,
cool because it's true.
yeah,
But
yeah.
playing the Playboy Man. What did you think when you first heard that you were going to be jamming at the Playboy Mansion? Was that ever a
Well,
thought? Like, had you? I don't recall you ever coming up to the mansion prior to that.
no, no. But before I met my wife, she's 11 years younger than I am. Uh, she, right around 1981, she used to hang out at the mansion. So she would tell me
Oh,
stories
Mm,
because, you know, listen, pop culture, you had the Beatles and you got Playboy magazine.
yep.
right.
You know, that's
True.
it. That was the beginning of the sexual revolution was Playboy, the beginning of the British invasion, and that, rock and roll after that began with the Beatles. And so they went hand in hand. I'm 74. So when the Beatles came out, I had just turned 13. I mean, when they appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show in
Yeah.
1964, I was just 13. But I have been going a lot to get my hair cut because it was the only place, the barber shop, where I could get my hands on a Playboy magazine.
Oh, it was actually a barbershop.
Barber
That's
shop,
crazy,
yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was like, and to keep all the every single what do you call that,
Issue.
publication.
Yeah.
Yeah, every issue. So it wasn't just like one issue. You had, by the time that I started going to that barber shop, they had stacks or Playboy magazine, you know.
Wow.
So, and yes, of course, you have the beautiful pictorials. But then again, it was almost like a lifestyle manual of how to be a man,
That-
you know, at a time where families were not really that open to sit down with you as a child and say, this is how it
Right.
goes.
right.
You could go to school, you could learn algebra, you could learn, French, but how to be a man, where are you gonna go for that? Well, at least we had Playboy magazine. You know, you had, and you had this a variety of opinions. You had a lot of interviews. You had the
Yeah.
jazz Paul.
Yep.
Well, it's all also about music. All of these things going on. You have art, Vargas Girls. You know, and it was a very complete
Yeah. It
publication.
covered all the bases. It covered art,
Yes,
music,
yes,
sports, culture,
yeah.
like, and the best of all of it. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
kind of an unbiased approach to all of them. There was
Yes,
anybody
yes.
could put their 2 cents in and get a lot out of it. I think that the cultural effect of Playboy and just especially on music, because if you go back to MTV and you think about all the rock videos that came out, because that was my time in the 80s, right? So you look at all the rock videos that came out, you know how many Playmates were in ZZ Top, all of them. I mean, all Whitesnake and whatever. I mean, the Playmates were a big part of a lot of those videos. They were hired to be in a lot of those videos. So they were Playboy and Playmates have been very intertwined with rock and roll specifically since the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just been part of
Yeah.
the fabric
Well,
of Playboy.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
is you
My
got you
wife,
jamming at the mansion and just seeing this full circle, like you're saying, Victoria. You
Yeah.
know,
absolutely. Oh, as a matter of fact, speaking of Whitesnake videos, my wife, uh, in 1984, she was actually in a Whitesnake video before I joined the band. She was in the
oh,
Oh, wow.
Love Ain't No
Yeah.
Stranger. Love
ah,
Ain't No Stranger. She was
love that.
the snake girl. She had a
Oh,
snake on her,
Wow.
the
That is
cleavage. Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Why
yeah.
wasn't she in Playboy? She should have been in Playboy.
Uh, she was doing Fredericks of Hollywood, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Uh, no, she was. I don't think she was. She liked hanging at the mansion. She liked the parties and all of that, but she wasn't really driven to be, a centerfold or something like that. I don't know. She's very shy. She's not even on social media.
Safer that way.
She's not, which drives me crazy because her friends from high school are trying to get a hold of her, 40 years later. And she was says, if I haven't talked to them in 40 years,
Yeah. Probably not much to talk about.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, no, yeah, she's really basically, as far as the her social life, it's just very off the grid, very, very private.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
well, I got to add this in. I'm not taking away. Um, it's good to see that you're doing good and you're safe, right? We just had these horrific fires here in Southern
Yeah.
California. And,
Yeah.
did any of that come near
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. We were like, we live right off Mulholland,
Yeah.
and that was the perimeter of, if what is the north? We live like two houses north of Mulholland, and that was like the perimeter right there. Whereas, I mean, I'm looking at the Santa Monica Mountains right here. They're like, you know,
Wow.
in
Yeah.
my backyard. So it's beautiful, but it's, this one came pretty close, about a mile away.
Wow.
That's where they stopped. Yeah, that's why they stopped the fire. Yeah, over the hill.
So did
Yeah.
you
Did
stay
you
or
have
did
to
you
evacuate?
evacuate?
No, we were on the, ready,
Oh,
to
okay.
be ready, for to evacuate. Um, my wife packed everything that would or necessities, like documents and clothing and stuff like that. And yeah, we were ready to go if it was necessary.
Yeah,
That
that
must
was
be
that
so
was
Yeah,
stressful. That must be
yeah,
like the most
yeah,
stressful thing.
yeah.
God, terrible.
Sitting and
Can
waiting.
you grab baby Willow? I mean, you were talking about it, about your puppy. You have a puppy too. I, I'm going to show you my little my little puppy.
if
Oh well.
anybody follows Rudy Sarzo, you already know who it is.
What is it? What kind of dog is it? Let's see.
Here
Oh
we
yeah,
go.
you're gonna see it. She is.
Oh,
Oh,
smiling. Oh my
Hey,
goodness.
Willow.
Say hi. Say hi.
hi, Willow.
Yeah,
She's not on social
mine's
media neither.
I have an 8-month-old puppy and she's 70 pounds and she sounds
Oh,
like
she's
Oh,
so
huge.
I saw I'm like if you can hear her barking because she sounds like a
I
monster
bet.
down
Oh
there.
God. That's great.
Oh, sorry. What made you decide to get a second dog, Jen?
Me?
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no idea. No, our friend, one of our friends actually got one of the siblings of this litter, and my husband always wanted a large dog, and our first dog we got, a sheepadoodle, and she's about 49, 50 pounds, and it just kind
Mm.
of didn't hit the dopamine for him, like he wanted a big dog, and then his friend got one of these, and she's a Saint Bernard poodle mix, so very
What?
large, but I have to say, because of her size, she's just big and dumb and fluffy. And, you kind of give her a pass because she's a puppy, but she's also just big and fluffy and dumb. So it's kind of funny because she falls off the couch and it's like this big thud. And it's
Oh
just
my
that she
God.
just does stupid things because she's a puppy and she has a thing with dish towels. She steals all my dish towels and like chews them up. It's really cute. But yeah, she actually entertains the other dog, which is less work for us now because we can just let them outside and they just kind of play and we're not involved anymore. So I don't know. It's a lot of work and the vet bills are so fun. But other than that, it's cute.
I have a turtle.
Yeah.
Turtles
So
are not always easier though.
Mm-hmm.
oh, no, he's chill. You kidding me? My turtle's so chill.
I know
I
you
love
gotta
it.
have the water in the tank and the filter and the da 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 da.
But they don't bark.
No, they don't.
So
Yeah. Filter. I change that out a couple months every other month. It's easy. Water. Boom. Rudy. So before we take a break, I just want to get us all where we're at. It's just as I announced, like your amazing career. You have talked a little bit about it, but I would really like to reiterate on this in the next segment. Is that coming from Cuba, you
Mhm.
know, being born and raised Cuba, and then I just love the story about how your father wanted your family to come here, and then how you came here, and then I've read your book, Off the Rails, and
Mm.
and just I want to get in on that for a little bit. So let's take a quick break. We're going to
Sure.
be right back. We are Rogue Bunnies Mayhem. So really, right before we went to break, I mentioned, coming from Cuban, you shared that story, and I just think it's cool that we've also had other conversations on, you know, the reasons why you left Cuba and what has gone here. We've seen, people thinking, they want socialism, and it's just crazy, And just I want to give you that opportunity to share, what it was like for you.
Yeah, just like faith, I don't think you can actually tell somebody to believe in anything. They have to experience it for
Yeah.
themselves.
Hmm.
And another layer to that is that, I believe God has given us free will. If you
Yeah.
impose your beliefs on somebody else, you're you're messing with the free will that God has given that person to believe in whatever they want to believe in. You know, so when people ask me about my experience about communism, I'm basically telling them this is what happened to me.
Yeah.
This is what
You're
I
you're
saw. This is
right.
what I
Right.
lived.
Right.
It's
Right.
not. It's not even to us. To me, it's not even a perception. It's an experience.
mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm perceiving this from far away. I'm in the middle of it. I'm living it.
How old
So,
were you when you left?
well, when Castro came in, I had just turned 8. This is the revolution, New Year's Eve of '59. That's when it happened. Just like in Godfather 2. Well, the depiction of it, I saw that from my balcony in Havana.
Wow.
The mayhem that was going on in the city, all the looting and wrecking things up, and just like the place went nuts. And then you start to realize what what's really behind it, meaning that when Castro, within a few months after in 1959, after him coming into, the revolution taking over, he declared himself during one of his speeches Marxist Leninist, which to the average Cuban, they don't know what that is, you know.
Right.
But we had neighbors who were Chinese who had just left China a few years
Oh,
before, getting away from communism in China, and they wind up in Cuba. The last place that everybody thought was going to turn communist.
Yeah,
you
poor
you know,
people.
yeah. So they heard the speech and they told my parents, "Listen, we're getting out of here because we know what's coming."
they
You
see the
know,
signs. They've been through it.
they
Yeah.
see the signs. And we're talking about 19. We started the process in 1960. The process meaning that we had to get the visas and a sponsor to sponsor us from the United States. The passports, tickets. I mean, I'm not talking chronologically because there were certain steps that we had to take. The one led to the other, and so it took us about a year and a half to get everything done. So we left in 1961. By then, it was pretty much full-fledged communism going on, because it was in steps, layer by layer. One day you wake up and Castro announces that your bank account has been frozen, and the currency that you have in your wallet is not going to be any good by 24 hours from now. So you better spend that currency because we're going to print new bills, which is basically a a bill with a depiction of Castro entering Havana on a tank. The revolution Cuban peso now. You know, and
Is that still
you
the
can
currency today? Is that still
you
the
know
money, the
I
bills?
I have no idea because I left in 61 and I never been back, so I haven't seen an actual Cuban peso. They used to be Cuban dollars and then they changed it to Cuban peso. And and so uh, everything started going down, quickly after that. Your bank accounts were frozen. You can only withdraw like a minimum amount to sustain yourself, and things like that. And also intervening in school, where the kids we were being kept uh, after school with the teacher asking us certain questions about how our parents talked about Papa Castro. And so it started getting really dangerous. And my parents said, you know what? We're just gonna get you kids out of school because we're scheduled to leave here at a certain time, within a couple of months. So we went through that whole process, and we're talking about America in 1961 when we arrived in the United States. Miami could not sustain the influx of Cubans. Now we're talking about flights that we have Pan American flights,
Yeah.
but there was not enough opportunities, enough jobs in Miami. So by 1963, we were relocated. My parents picked New Jersey,
Oh.
so we moved to New Jersey. Uh, so so when we moved to West New York, New Jersey in 1963, that was a few months right before Kennedy got shot. And Kennedy, to us Cubans who were coming into the country, into the United States, uh, he was our hope that he was going to, something was going to happen, that Castro, you know, I mean, we left, my family left Cuba between the Bay of Pigs and the missile crises.
Yeah.
So when Kennedy got shot, that took away any hope that my family and I had of us ever going back to Cuba because nobody filled that role, especially between Cuba and the United States that Kennedy had, you know. So in addition to Kennedy getting shot, the whole country was in gloom, doom and gloom.
Yeah.
It happened right before Thanksgiving, so Thanksgiving like there was no celebration.
Oh.
Christmas, New Year's Eve, and here we are. We're entering the new year, and we're like, my generation kids, we're going like, man, what's going? This we, you know, what's going to happen next? Well, February 9th, 1964, Beatles on Ed Sullivan. That was the big bang for my generation. That was like the light at the end of the tunnel, that ray of hope. Like, okay, we're turning somewhere here. Something good is coming. Something's bringing us together. Because when I got to New Jersey, the whole neighborhood was, you know, segregated. You had just the Italians hanging out with the Italians, and the Irish with the Irish, and so on. And in school, it was the same thing. And I was like, Cubans were not really a majority at that time in West New York in 1963. So maybe there were like two or three other kids. So we were like we were from outer space, basically. Who are these guys? Why do they talk so funny? Then the Beatles happened, and overnight it was like we all started from combing our hair back. We went like bangs, and it was like that commonality of like, you're into that? Yes, I'm into. So that became our tribe, our little club. All of a sudden, we're hanging out with each other. Not just Cubans, I mean, but like everybody, the Italians and the Irish and the whatever ethnicity, everybody was hanging out because we had music in common. We were going to each other's houses, apartments, family. We're having dinner now with our family because we were staying over. We're
That's
going putting a
amazing.
band together. Oh yeah, that changed everything completely. And so that's how I was able to assimilate. And from that point on, music became not really as much as my religion, but my cultural collective consciousness
Yeah.
that transcended ethnicities. It wasn't about
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's not about it wasn't about where are you from, who are you. It was about the music that we can make together that
Yeah.
really mattered.
This wow, this has just hit me, man. This has hit me big time. Um, Rudy, we're gonna have to we're gonna cut this, but we are doing a part two. So everyone listening, we're not done. So stick with us. Rudy Sarzo is sticking with us, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to be wrapping this show. Don't forget, check out next week. Tell all your friends you don't want to miss this, and also follow us now on YouTube. You have been listening to Rogue Bunnies Mayhem.